Okay, I think, let me see. There we go. How you guys doing today? Um, well, welcome. What can I tell you? Woo, all kinds of stuff. I don't even know why I have the pen. I'm not writing. I want to share with you some pretty cool stuff that it's been happening to me for a couple of years, but this particular year, it just magnified, and everybody's talking about it, right? Everybody that I talk to, maybe I'm in a silo, maybe it's just me and I'm losing my mind. But if you've heard of people talking about some form of the soul's mission, so what's the soul's mission? The soul's mission is that thing that causes you to want to have more, and it's more of the intangibles. You know what I'm saying? More peace, more love. You don't mind money, but it's really not about that. It's about having the resources and the capacity. And maybe it's because we got out of uh, COVID, right? And now because we're done with COVID, we're uh, simply going, okay, well, I want more of all the things that I was missing. Maybe that's the case. I don't necessarily think that that's the case. I think what's really happening is something much bigger than that, and we all know it. We just don't know how to talk about it. Why don't we know how to talk about it? We'll get to that. Today, my name is Hector Brito, and today I want to cover some things with you. And there's no way that I can cover everything that I want to say in 1 hour time. It takes probably about good 3 hours and then some discussion and everything else. So I'm going to make some more videos if this is something that, you know what, even if people don't like it, I'm making the video, okay? Because I know when to talk about it. So what am I talking about here? Look at what just happened. The 21st, yesterday, was the longest night and the shortest day. That's called the winter solstice. Tonight and tomorrow night, or into tomorrow, we are going to experience a meteor shower that I don't know if everybody's going to see, but it's called the Ursa, or also in Latin, Roman, it means the bear, and specifically the polar bear. So the light cosmics are spraying us with the power of the sleeping giant that wakes up and comes out of his cave. I'm talking to men now, comes out of your cave, right? And it brings forth the energy with a meteor. So this is all metaphoric right now, but it is happening physically. We moved from one constellation influence into another. Now we're under Jupiter, and and the power of Cancer and all these really cool things. We just moved into from one month to another. We just had Hanukkah, 8 days of celebrating the Festival of Lights. That is when we take power over darkness, and we take the darkness and we bring light from the outside in so that we can find the end of our darkness, so that we can turn that darkness into returning light. Returning light means it's no longer, it's the end of darkness, and the end of darkness begins the beginning of light. It's all you inside of you, but it's about the way you meditate. It's about the way you change your thinking. Okay, so you think that's all coincidence? It's not. There's more than this, than just simple coincidence. Um, Let me see what else. Okay, how about the war in Israel? Everybody's polarized. What's going to happen in 2024? Everybody's polarized over politics. Okay, what has happened with religion? People are now super polarized. Some Christians are fighting for their Christianity, while people are saying, you know what, religious institutions are done. Some people are fighting for their religious belief, of having control over the rest of the world. you know, this whole thing about terrorism and the Muslims against the Christians and the Christians against Christians and on and on and on and Protestants against whatever, right? Those that protest against the religion. All right. So you see how we have all these chaotic things. Oh, and don't forget the world's going to end because AI is going to take over, right? The AI is the beast. It's going to take over everything and the chemtrails and on and on and on and on. And the next thing you know, everybody has some conspiracy theory. I'm going to try to cover all of those things, right? It seems impossible in one moment. And how do you, as a person, overcome all this social media mess and you become your soul's mission and you bring out the light that is in you? That's my attempt today. In order to cover all of that, I'm going to try to give you a really brief introduction to something that's really complex. This doesn't take hours, this takes days in order to really get into it. You've heard about the Merkabah. The word Merkabah is a Hebrew word, and it's a spaceship kind of thing. It's a metaphysical component that people represented in Bible days, and today we have people that represent those things. So a Merkabah is a three-dimensional um, triangular shape that looks like the Star of David, Morgan David, and it's two pieces coming together like this, right? And you can see what that looks like, right? So Star of David, but the Merkabah is like this, it's like this, and from six angles. And so you'll find it only in one place in the scriptures in the Old Testament, talking about I see a wheel inside of a wheel, and the angels moved and six wings and blah blah blah. That's talking about the Merkabah in there. All right, so why is that important? It's important because you see the Matrix talks about it. You know what else talks about it? Star Wars, right? Star Wars. There can only be two, and there's always a two on the good side and two on the bad side, right? But what if it's two becoming one, and then that one is actually you? What do you think about that? What if the whole story is not about somebody coming to save us, but you coming to save your own self? Wow, that's a lot of stuff that I got to cover. Okay. In order for me to start with these things, I want to mention to you that you need to consider. And if you don't know, shoot me a text, a DM, and I'll give you the information, the historical, chronological events that have taken place. History repeats itself if we don't know and keep it in our minds. So, do you think that the war, listen to me, wait until I'm complete before you start throwing up on yourself here. Egypt, ancient Egypt tried to absorb Israel. Then the Spanish tried to absorb Israel. Then Germany tried to absorb Israel. Then Russia tried to absorb Israel. Okay, the Catholics tried it too, and they have been behind every attempt. Yeah, where is the Catholic Church today and all those other people that have tried to take over Israel? They have fallen smaller and smaller. Okay, so why is this important for you to know? Because this is a historical and metaphysical event that continues to happen over and over and over, and it has to do directly with you. If you're a person that wants peace, if you're a person that wants righteousness, if you're a person that trains and to defend the people that you love because you want to be ready for that fight, you are Israel. Israel is a title. It means those who wrestle and fight with God and man and overcome. It's all about overcoming. I'm not here to try and preach to you a story. I'm here to tell you a story, but also about the 25 days of Christmas. You ever heard of that song or that little poem? 25 days of, the first day of Christmas, my darling gave to me, blah, 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 blah. Second day, all the way to 25, right? Look, I have a 25 rhythm. 25 years I was wrestling to try to come back to myself because I was paralyzed from the neck down. I suffered a horse-related accident. I was a quadriplegic for 4 years, and then it took me 21 years to get back to this beautiful holy place. And but that's for another night, right? That's another story. Can't cover it all in 1 hour. What I do want to tell you is that every single one of you who's feeling this energy, you're feeling it for a reason. And it's time for you to wake up and go, you know what? Let me do something about it. Don't wait for somebody else. My attempt tonight is to cover what's happening, why it's happening, and then what you can do about it. I'm going to try to cover all of that in a very short period of time. All right? Um, okay. What are these planetary movements? What do they have to do? It's when a astronomical event takes place, meaning a planet and another planet come across each other's realm and they intersect from us looking at it from down here. Does that make sense? Right? As these astral things move around like this, they line up against with each other, not against each other, and it directly affects us from a different angle. So that's what that means in the most basic way. And so when the sun and the earth is moving around the sun, here's the earth, the sun, and here's the earth, right, moving around the sun, and eventually the earth moves furthest and furthest away, and it's the darkest, and then it comes closer and it becomes light, and so then we get this motion, and then we have the longest days. So that's what the summer is about. That's why we have more light, and these are all metaphysical stories because now mankind, hear me out, we have gone from the Stone Age with the Flintstones, right? Yabba Yabba Do. And we went from there to bronze to copper and this and that and another metal until we get to the Iron Age. And then we get to past the Iron Age, and then we get into the printing and the knowledge, and then we get into the agricultural. And the agricultural gives way to the industrial age. And the industrial age, are you with me so far? The industrial age creates a Cold War, and then in the industrial age gives way to the information age. And now we're looking at beyond the information age, now comes artificial intelligence, right? And so who's creating artificial intelligence? Who created all those eras? Beginnings and end, beginnings and end. You did. I did. Human race has. And because we create these eras, we also collapse them. The era of the warrior being strong and mighty and powerful and killing, that era is also over. It's done. Governments are done fighting. You know why they continue? Because we have given them too much power, but the power's in your hands, man. You're the one that needs to stop the government and say enough is enough. See, money doesn't exist. If you don't know it, look at what happened in 1929, 1933 regarding money, and when did gold become illegal for Americans to own it. Look it up. Don't wait on me to tell you the information. You're capable. You got the most powerful device in your hand right now. You got more power in your hand than the president of the United States had back in the 70s. And I was alive then. Yeah, I'm that old, okay? So you think about what I'm saying to you. In your hand, you have more power and information available to you if you have a smartphone in your hand with Wi-Fi than the United States president had at the time in 1970. And I was alive. in 1970. That's not that long. Either that or I'm an immortal, right? All right. So, what does that have to do with anything? And what am I talking about? Your ability to believe as a human being that President Trump is evil creates a mass energy that other people begin to believe. Your belief that Biden is a piece of crap is the same thing as what you think about President Trump. Your belief that money, the cash, is actually functioning real. Do you know how many cryptocurrencies exist today? They're no different. It's called a fiat, just like the cash is fiat. And again, this would take years and time of me to develop all these pieces. But I'm only trying to tell you that in 2024, the life that you know now is going to completely change you to a different level of life. We are entering in 2024 into a most magnificent moment where more men and men are going to wake up to the reality of who they are, where more now boys are going to wake up to what it is to be a man. And let me tell you, you've got this all together wrong, sister, if you think that you're above men. You got it wrong. Let me tell you something, guys. If you're a victim, it's time for you to wake up. And if you're the kind of guy that's an abuser, it's time for you to wake up because we're coming for you. The world has changed. And we need to stop this craziness. And we need to stop war. But we need to be always ready to take out of some ass that wants to do harm to somebody that you love. And it better not be you doing the harming, okay? So, all of this, I'm making a big promise that I'm going to deliver all these pieces together. Check me, all right? Check me if I don't. Put it on there, put it in a note and say, hey, you didn't do this or you didn't say that. Where did you leave it? Just check me if that's the case. All right, so where do we start and how do I know that in 2024 the world is going to completely change? Because of other coincidences that are no longer coincidence because there's too many of them coming together. Why are we seeing such war and such hatred where, Hamas comes and kills women and children and rapes them? And then everybody's having an argument over all the children that are being killed because Hamas is hiding in hospitals over families of the Palestinian people that are being killed, children and women. You see how crazy this is? What about Epstein Island? What about all of those crazy stuff, right? Drinking the blood of children. Where does that stuff come from? Ancient Israel back days when the Israelites were leaving Egypt, where they were doing all that craziness. How are we repeating all this stuff? That's the example. That's your symptom. That's your sign that guess what? Times have changed. There's a lot of men that are spiritual and holy, but they don't know how to express it. 2024 is a time, it's a game changer. So, how do we do this? Let me tell you, let me start. Let me see if I'm going to show this to you. All right. There it is. Boom. Okay. You can see it's numbered all the way down to 10. Earth is down here, and the system of God is up here. The right side, the left side, as you look at it, is the female side, and the right side is the male side, as you look at it. And so these are the children. This is Earth. This is man. Okay, there's 5 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this one 6. That makes up the number of man. This section right here, the 5, is 5D that everybody's talking about, right? You get what I'm saying? Everybody's talking about, oh, we're in a 5 dimensional and all this other stuff. And people are talking about titles and they're making themselves like, I'm a this and I'm a that. I'm a guru and I'm a spiritual this and I'm a diva that and I'm a masculine whatever. This stuff has been talked about for thousands of years. This is called the tree of life. This takes sometimes years, but with a good instructor, it can take you a couple of months to really get a good grip on this. All right. Well, this is the same representation, just with a little bit of another teaching that I did not too long ago. Okay. See it? So what happens is I'm just explaining here that there is a lack, an excess of something and a lack of something. Again, I'm not trying to teach on that tonight. I just want to talk about this area right here, which is the fifth dimensions. And we call that Seir Ampin with number 6. It becomes something bigger. What's the big thing? Okay, here comes the meat of the show. Ready for this? Remember the story of, what do they call it? The kid with the many colors, Joseph of Egypt, the Prince of Egypt. Disney talks about that, right? That Joseph, where Jacob or Israel shows up and there's a famine and there's all this other stuff and 7 years of good and 7 years of bad. Well, if you know anything about maritime law, it's created there. Really, really freaking deep story. I'm telling you, when you understand that what happened there is that the system became alive for the very first time, that artificial intelligence wanted to possess the souls of men. And the first time that's recorded is in that story of Egypt. Okay? If you watch the movie Jupiter Rising, it's the same story being told again. If you watch and understand what the Matrix is about, it's the same exact story told again. And now that we put that right there for just a piece holder, you have to understand that what Joseph was doing there was being the redeemer to bring people out of the place of a constriction where you live by a fake money, a fake food, a fake lifestyle, where all you do is work for the government, right? They're building these buildings, so that's why we call them pyramid scheme. The U.S. government is the biggest pyramid scheme ever created, and only those on the top get fed right. Pyramid scheme happened in Egypt. And so Joseph prepared things to bring everybody out. Why that's important? Because Joseph, in this story of the tree of life, the tree of life can be superimposed upon you so that your head is the top and your left shoulder is Binah and your right shoulder is Chokhmah and all the way down, like the chakras, right? That go in line. So is the tree of life. The tree of life is superimposed upon a person. And in a woman, this would be the reproductive components along with the vagina. In a man, this one would be his reproductive component or otherwise his penis, right? So when these two pieces come together, it sends an echo all the way through back to the top of the system. All right. So what am I saying here? When I just drop my paper. Okay. So that means that from here on down is Earth. From here on up is Middle Earth, if you will. And from here on up is heaven, right? So Earth, human domain, that's where your soul is. That's the power of your energy. And heaven is these three at the top. Okay? I'll show you with this one. Earth is these two with man here. And otherwise, this is a human domain. And up here is the heaven domain. So some people, hey, look, I don't want to get into doctrinal theses, even though we can, because we have a PhD. Okay, so now I'm trying to develop this idea, and I hope you can follow what I'm getting at here. What am I getting at? That everything is a microcosm and of the microcosm. You know what the word fractal is? A number or a sphere of some shape that repeats itself that even might look not like it's repeated, but you have to see it from a larger perspective or in a very small perspective, right? And the same holds true. You, as a human, when God, the system created humanity, what is humanity? Because this is about what's going to happen in 2024. I'm really closing it up here. In 2024, women are going to remember that they were created for a purpose, just like men will start to remember that they were created for a purpose. That it's no longer about being, the dark side or the light side and coming together and crashing. Let me tell you that in the center of two opposing forces that push against each other, that very center is zero. Zero. There is no greater power than humanity. There isn't that women are more powerful than men. It's not that men are more powerful than women. We can't do that. We're destroying ourselves if we continue to do this. It doesn't make sense for us as one species to eat each other's, right? You know how the Bible talks about, and the dragon waited at the bottom of the woman, so when she gave birth, it would eat. Well, the dragon is your spirit, your soul that is out of control. But when your soul is in line, in an alignment with your soul's mission, and your mind and your body is all one, you know what happens? All of a sudden, that dragon is no longer demonic. It is the power and the force that propels you to be divine because it's returning light. You take the dark force, like Luke Skywalker did, and was able to use it, or like in Doctor Strange, right? The dark side and the good side are one and the same. You might gonna find out that the Bible talks about that, but you'd have to read that in Hebrew in order to really see it, because you're never gonna see it in the English narrative. You're never gonna see it that way. Ooh, that's a bomb right there for some of you guys. Okay, so um, now what's happening in 2024 is that we've already gone through all the systems of man, politicians, politics. You know what? All of that has come to an end because of COVID revealed. There isn't a single religion out there, a single belief system that said we are against COVID and our belief in God is what's going to rescue us from the situation. Huh? What? Who's talking? You talking to me? No, you're not, right? Because it doesn't matter what your belief system is. If you want to believe in that there is a God, then why didn't your God save you and your people from COVID? Everybody became subject to it. That means that the narrative that we've been handed down to us, is not true. It doesn't work that way. Well, then what works? Cause and effect. Another long story. And this is why I'm talking about the tree of life. The tree of life defines what is cause and effect and how to connect one thing with another. And so, really quick, I'm going to tell you this big bang that's coming, the meteors that are going to happen tomorrow, in the morning before the light comes out. You know what that is? That's the seminal energy of creation. You know where that comes from? Women are not life givers. Men carry the seed of life. Women are life carriers. And until we realize that, we need to stop this craziness of trying to change your gender. It's not about transgender, it's about transcendence. Transcendence. You know it. Speak about it. So, tree of life. Now I got to go back to the Joseph story in order to tell you how you are going to win against the powers of darkness. So I already established that the money system is only alive because you believe it to be, and you want it to be, and you need it to be. Until you realize that you got more power than that, how much does it cost in terms of money versus effort to go out and build a beautiful garden of agriculture with a tribe of people just like you? How much does that cost? It costs more labor and time than it costs money. Why don't you do it? It was done before. Animals, right? Why don't you do it? Because you're in your comfort zone. Why aren't you in shape? Because you're in your comfort zone. Why don't you know the things that you should know so that you don't feel depressed, tired, desperate, and afraid? Because you're lazy. Because you don't put in the time. Have you fasted? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, about 10, about 20. Have you fasted 40? I'm asking you a question. Have you fasted? Because, look, if you don't put in your time in the right place, you have no right to complain about nothing. If spiritually you're not where you want to be, you can't blame somebody else. You gotta stop and say, what do I need to do? Because spirituality doesn't cost things, and you can't go to a guru to get it, because we already saw that all religions just fail. In 20, you can't go to the government because they didn't save anybody. They made a mess. BLM and all this destruction and here and there, and the Somali pirates and the wars. Governments have failed. Who do you think starts the wars? Do you think that what happened in Israel and that attack on uh, this summer was actually something that happened in a vacuum, that like governments didn't know about it? That was a political move. Do you think any war is non-political? You need to wake up if that's what you think, because I'm telling you, that's not the case. All right. I'm really dropping some big ones out here, some pretty heavy duty tracks, and I hope you can pick up what I'm saying. Um, Now, if you believe that the money that has no backing of gold is actually money, it's all digital, then guess what? You've been in the wrong place. Why you work so hard? Why you spend so much time as a slave? Kind of like what happened in Egypt, right? That's where I want to go. Let me finish with closing with Mr. Um, Joseph. Joseph has 12 brothers, 11 brothers. And so Judah, okay, which means highly praised one, comes to his brother and says, "Hey, bro," he doesn't know his brother. He says, "Sir, whatever's happened and is happening to us, whatever government rule you want to put against us, you think we're spies, you think that we stole. I get it, I get it, I get it. And I'll tell you why I get it. I get it because it's not you. The government against you, the economic system against you, the wife against you, the man against you, the husband against you, whatever it is, this is not, it's because you have not taken personal responsibility. So Judah is saying, it's not you, sir. It's me. I sold out my brother 17 years ago because I didn't like the dude. And he pissed me off. And now I've committed to my father a job that I because I feel sorry for what I did. I did it in my stupidity. I was once wrong, right? Like Amazing Grace. I was lost. I was lost to myself, is what Judah is saying to his brother. He's like, dude, but he doesn't know it's his brother, right? Joseph is dressed like an Egyptian, Judah's like the Hebrew guy, and they both are princes, right? Because one's in Egypt and the other one's a prince over in Israel. And he's like, hey man, I want to talk to you. I want to solve this problem. I don't know how to solve it, but before you send me to jail because you're much more powerful than me, your system is much bigger than mine. Let me tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna lay everything out. I screwed up. I did it. Nobody else did it. I mean, me. I did this to my brother, and you don't understand the story because you were not there. You don't know anything about it. But let me tell you really quick. Um, I took my brother and I sold him, and I was wrong. And so I told my dad that he had died, and my dad is suffering for years, and I've never told him the truth. And so because of that, I told my dad, hey, Dad, you know what? I can't do nothing about my brother, but I could definitely do something about my children. I'll give you my two children if I don't bring you back your son Benjamin. So sir, he does. This is Judah telling Joseph, sir, let me tell you something. It's all good. It's all good because my God, he's the one, the system is bringing everything into balance. And I did a terrible thing to my own flesh and blood, right? That's you. I did my own thing against my own people, which are other human beings just like me, made in the same image and likeness of God. And because of that, the system is a system of cause and effect, and is demanding that I take personal responsibility for all the shit that I did in the past. So if you're gonna send us to jail, send us to jail. If you're gonna beat, I'll take the beating. I'm just asking you one thing, if I may. I know I'm in no position to ask you for this, but if I could just ask you one thing, one single favor, sir, Mr. Egyptian, I'm asking you, return my brother back to my father. My father suffered long enough. The father has suffered long enough in absence. Can you just let my younger brother go home? And I'll take all the punishment. And Joseph's like, dude, why are you talking to me like that, man? He takes off his wig. He takes off his makeup. He kind of looked like a girl, and he's almost, transgender crap. And he takes it all off. Because you couldn't tell the difference between an Egyptian male and Egyptian female, not too much. And then he like takes off his stuff. He's like, bro, I'm here. I'm your man. I'm Joseph. Everything that happened in the past, it happened for a reason. It happened for me to come to this place. And what you sold me, yeah, you dogged me. That's right. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm here. Now tell dad, come along and bring all your children, bring your whole family, bring everything that you have, bring it here, bro, because I got you. I got your back. I got you covered. I'm here. I'm Joseph, man. What's up with you? I'm Joseph. I'm the real deal. And we're all going to live as a happy family. This is what's happening in 2024. Okay? So we have this place that I said, not the top three, right? Um, this is manifestation. All of this is human dimension prior to manifestation. So this is all the metaphysical. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this one is all metaphysical. So the very tip of this particular dimension, each one of these 10 represent a dimension, and then there's another one right here that you can barely see. That's called the at data. Again, we're not covering that. Earth manifestation is here. That's what woman is. This is man, right? So Judah represents a man taking personal responsibility for all the stupid stuff that we've made over the thousands of years. And Joseph represents all the manifestation of the earth And in a single time, they are both representing both male and female coming together in the sanctity and the holiness of a physical and spiritual and emotional and mental union at one point and one time. And that in itself is about a 3 hour teaching that is really powerful to understand. This is how we truly manifest goodness in our world when a man and a woman come into oneness as equals. Okay, so that's 6 pieces right here, right? It's called Seir Ampim, and the little one underneath that one single circle is Malchut, manifestation. Okay, so Joseph represents this one, the same one. Benjamin represents all of them together. They come together. I'm sorry, not Benjamin, but Judah. And Judah's like, I'm sorry. I'll take all the blame. Joseph says, man, I got all but love for you. There is no blame in my game for you. And these two brothers become one in unity of love. And this is the one thing that we're missing because we think that love is all about what I can get. If you love a fish and you love your mate in the same way, that's not love. See, if you love the fish, you let it go. But if you got fish love, just like fish lips, you're cold because fish love is I love the fish for what it does for me, so I eat it. I love fish, right? Versus if you really love the fish, you let it go. If you really truly love somebody, it's not that you let them go; it's that you're there to serve them. But we don't do that. We claim to, oh yeah, you're my brother. I love you so long as you work with my little particular scheme of whatever it is. That's not love. All right. So then Judah approaches Joseph. They come together as one, and the reading for this energy is, you know how people talk about tarot cards and the readings for this and the clearing of that. But that all comes from a very ancient story of Kabbalah, of the Jewish people, of the Spanish jewelry that came out of uh, the Inquisition. That do you know that the Inquisition lasted 350 some years? Catholic Church have been pursuing the Jewish people, my people, for over 350 freaking years. We talk about one world government. One world government like the UN is all about oppression of a group of people. Let me tell you really quick, and the last piece before I close, the Jewish story is one that says, look, we just want to worship our way, our thing in Israel. So why don't you back off and leave? I mean, the United States, Arabs, China, Germany, all tried to take the world by force, right? That's a fact. That's a historical fact. French did it. Everybody's done it. When do you know that Israel, as a people and as a government, have gone out to do a world conquest? Just to know now, that being said, these two spheres are adjacent to each other, just like when the stars become adjacent to each other. I was talking about that earlier. The metaphysics of it is that when we have gone past artificial intelligence and everything else, we come closer to each other. You hear me? We are much closer because we're all speaking the same language. Everybody's talking about the soul. Everybody's talking about spirit. Everybody's talking about a need and a hunger for a deeper connection because we're tired of women showing their bodies. We're tired of men abusing other people. Look, all of that is all false, and it doesn't take us, and it doesn't give us anywhere where now humans are eating humans, and borders are being crossed. No respect for anybody. Just a crazy killing, right? Okay, so how do we attain victory in all of this? You attain victory by going into yourself and taking personal responsibility like Judah did. You go into yourself and you pull the aspect of your spirit, your breath, your energy, your own decision making capacity, and you bring that out and you give it to other people, not by force, but by simply sharing, and you make that connection. When you do that, you are manifesting from the metaphysical into the physical world, which is Malchut, right? And this dimension that we live in. Don't believe for a moment that all of this is fake and somehow you're laying down in a computer. That's not true. You are real. Touch yourself, man. You have emotions. You're real. You exist. You have willpower. You have desire. You have a want and you want to be accepted. And you want to feel like you count. Then count first with yourself. Count first for yourself. Take the energy that is in you, the spirit. Two kings come together. One from a lowly land and one from some kind of superpower called Egypt. And they come adjacent to each other. And they face each other. And they could go like this and continue to fight, and one could win over the other, or they could both destroy each other and bruise each other. What they do is they open up and they come together as one. And then you can't tell the difference in between one and the other because they're moving together in purpose, in unison. You want to see world peace? You want to experience world peace? It's simple. Get your shit together. Become guilty. GYLT. Get your life together. Start there. If you are a religious person and you're fat and chalky and you're swollen, you're a hypocrite. If you're a mentor out there and you're talking about all this stuff, but you don't got your life together, you're not a happy person, and you're not in shape, you don't have integrity. You're like, man, how can you say something like that? I'll tell you why. Because for 25 years, okay, I know what it is not to be in shape, not to have power, not to be able to do certain things. Okay, you look at me today, all right, and let me tell you, before you judge this, listen to my story. I had my tricep was atrophiated, my whole leg and my butt, and my calf, on my left side was atrophiated, which means it shrunk because I couldn't use it for 4 years because I lived, on pain pills and morphine. I lost 4 years out of my life. And out of those 4 years, I barely remember maybe a couple of days. And so I was fat. I was so fat that my legs were rubbing against each other. I was so hurting, I couldn't reach across and grab my own butt and clean it. I couldn't get out of bed. I had erectile dysfunction. I had hemorrhoids really bad. I was only 30 years old. I was a millionaire. I made millions and all of it disappeared. I used to own 13 horses and Porsche and trucks and cars and money and this and houses, and all of it disappeared. It all disappeared. Abandoned by my children, by my church people, and by my family members, and all of that. I got whiny stories to share all day long. That's not the point. The point is I'm telling you that when I talk about how you should be, I was fat. I was out of shape. I know what it is. I was paralyzed. I was a quadriplegic for 4 years. I needed help. My point in all of this, telling you all of this, is simple. Get your life together. Start there, and you will see a world change. Start loving people in the right way. Connect to somebody. I'm telling you, what's going to happen in 2024 is going to blow your mind. You're going to see truth come out like you've never seen it before. You're going to see people come together like you've never seen it before. You're going to start to see a change in the way men treat other men. You're going to see the way people are going to become humble again, and this abuse in the court system against men by women, and all this overpower, like somehow men owe women and they must abuse men. All of that is going to end. The wars are going to end, but you have to get it together inside yourself first. You are responsible for the body and for what goes in your mouth, in your eyes, and in your ears. Join a group that's on to transcendence. Have the conversation with the people that are like you, and the people that you want to be like. That's what you gotta go. And if you can't find a place, come check it out. Soul Transcendence. That's why I'm sharing this with you. I'm inviting you to change your whole life, to be a happy. I'm telling you, I am the happiest man in the whole world. I wake up and I laugh at myself. I sometimes cry. I feel so good. And if you heard my story, you would go, "Holy crap, man!" You know, I'm not trying to tell you that I am a guru. I'm telling you that I am my own hero in my own life. Like Carl L, right? Like Superman, who had all of Krypton's DNA inside of him. He was one, but he was everybody. You are one, but you're everybody. And when you get your life together, you send out an energy like in the Matrix that causes people around you to want to change. And the more you do it, the more you find people just like you. And the answer to this whole freaking world is stop talking shit and start acting like you're a human being and live your life in the right way. And shoot, if you can't do it by yourself, get some accountability, pay for somebody. That's why I'm a coach. I'll help you as I know how to get there because I've done it myself. I'm not saying you have to do it with me. I'm just simply saying find somebody close to you, close enough where you can do this. Look, I got 8 minutes. I'm done. I think I just want to stop right here. Not because I have to, but because I choose to stop. And the reality is, you can take it any way you want. You can take it like a pitch, you can take it like whatever. Okay. I'm not against you. I'm not against anybody. I'm not against anything. I'm only telling you that you can continue to live the cycles that you've been living to, or you can finally in this year decide that you're going to take possession of your own, of your highest value, and you're going to take your soul's mission, and you're going to line that up with your job, and you're going to line that up with your lifestyle, and you're going to line it up with the way you talk, and the way you think, and the way you eat, and the way you live. And when you do that, self accountability is the highest level. I listen to some goofy people talking about, that you need self esteem and self esteem is the highest level. It's not. It's not. Self, if I said self esteem, I meant self confidence. Self confidence is what you tell somebody else that they should believe about you. In other words, it's how you dress up, it's how you act, and whether you're big, fat, and you put all this makeup and tight clothes, and then you want to show off all your body parts, and you go, you just gotta love me just the way I am. That's self confidence. That's self confidence. Self esteem. There's 6 pillars to self esteem. Self esteem is what you know to be true about yourself. And until you know that you're a beautiful soul, that you're a beautiful man, and that you can get up and be the most divine human being, giving love to children and protecting them, which means that you're going to come out with the apex predator. So that anybody hurts your family members and any children, right? You need to turn that on to kill somebody. Yeah, you need to fight for what's right. We're afraid to say those things, but that's what you're a man for. Even if it's the government eating our own children, they don't have the right to control your mind. So you need to have integrity within yourself. You need to find at least one man that'll keep you integral, and that you can walk with that person, and that they're gonna know all your secrets, but they're never gonna take dignity away from you. Sister, find somebody that will respect your dignity enough to help you walk right. That's it. Don't take the dignity away from somebody else. Simple as that. When it's all said and done, all you got to look at it as every situation and see how they're stealing dignity from one another. We can't do that. We must stop that, and we must come together as one. Okay, so again, how do we solve this? You think there's some kind of magical pill that you just do one thing and everything is solved? Well, I'm giving you the magical pill. I'm telling you, the whole world revolves around you. And the moment that you decide that you are the cosmos and that you're going to get your body into shape, it doesn't matter what happens to you. I'm telling you, I'm 57 years of age, and I can proudly tell you that I can be in a ring, in a boxing ring, after being paralyzed with 5 herniated discs on my neck, 3, messed up on my lumbar. I'm telling you, I can still hold my own inside of a professional ring in a sparring session. What's your excuse? Have you been paralyzed? You have no excuse. You know, stop calling it your disease, your cancer, your this, and the other. There is a solution, but you have to start with you. You have to start right with your head. And there's ways of solving all those problems. And if you can't get your head right, you get your food right. If you can't get your food right, then you get your head right and your spirit right. You got to use one. There's only 3 combinations here. There's only 3 factors: body, soul, and mind. Emotions are part of that. That's it. Solve one. If you got one, solve the other 2. If you have 2, solve the third one. And when you can get those 3 at 80% running at the same time, you got this. You are now the one that creates peace around you. There's your answer. There's your answer. Solve the puzzle of your life first. You take responsibility. And when you change that, you change the way you eat, change the way you eat, you change the way you live, you change the way you speak. And the next thing you know, the whole world around you has completely changed, and game over, done. There's your solution. And this is why in 2024, more and more people are waking up to this reality. You're going to see such more healing modalities and all kinds of things. Ah, I'm done. I hope that you caught the spirit of what I'm saying and don't get hung up on my words. You are man and woman come together. Not that you are a man and a woman, but man and woman have to come together as one. Protect our children, and let's learn to love one another. Later. Okay, so I finished with Facebook, and I wanted to go a little bit further here on this platform. So let me give me some coffee here, and I'm gonna go a little bit deeper into the things that I was just talking about. Okay, All right, so I talked about the bear, right? I got these really cool ornaments. You should see them. They're really super cool. Okay, these are like little Indians, right? And then we got the solstice right here, the winter solstice, and a big chief. Um, Let me grab the other one because I think I like the other one a little better. This one right here, okay? I can get it off. I'll bring it to you so you can see it. Really super cool. So thank you to my friend. This was an incredible gift. Dear, I appreciate you very much for that gift. Okay, here's the deeper teaching on how we solve this problem. Your brain has a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere, and your right eye is connected to your left and vice versa, and the other way around too, right? And so when you move your right hand, it is expressed in the hemisphere of the opposite side. And so that gives way of people saying, "Oh well, then that must mean that the world is all about duality, and so therefore, I have to get connected to my female side if I'm a male, and I have to get connected to my male side if I'm a female." Nothing could be further from the truth on that one. In the worlds that I was talking about, in each one of these 10 dimensions, the rules are different. There's 10 set of different rules because there's 10 different environments. And so, and they all apply in your body, right? Um, and we can talk about each one physically and show you how accurate that is. In the world of manifestation, this one that we exist, opposites attract. But in the higher worlds of spirituality, likes attract. And so we can have a family of souls that we are a part of, and we came here with a different mission, and likeness attracts one another. But the opposite of our likeness repels us against each other. So in this world, we are most confused. All right. And that being the case, we have to understand the rules for each dimension so that we don't create the problem of thinking that the way to solve all of this is by bending the rules because the rules should be bent, or because they make sense in one dimension and not in the other. So let's just mix them all together. That's our problem. We're mixing the boundaries, not understanding the rules of the different dimensions. How's that for explanation, huh? Male, female, female, male, however you want to look at it. Okay? Those are energies, and so the receiving side is female. The giving side is male. And they always have to work with one another. You cannot have time without space, and you cannot have space without time. So eternity collapses time and space. And time and space collapse or push out eternity. You are metaphysical because you're capable of taking a thought that is somewhere out there in the darkness of space, outside of the eternal intellect, and you grab that. That's another word for Serampin. Uh, um, and you bring that from the darkest place, the recess of your mind, and you massage that, and it turns into a momentary light inside your brain, and nerves start to, you can't see it, but if we were translucent, you would see our head just a lightning consistently when you're thinking. And so otherwise, it would be like traffic moving when you have thoughts, but you're not actively thinking. Which, look, there's all kinds of the different types of thinking. There's deductive thinking, there's linear thinking, there's complex thinking, there's dimensional thinking, and there's futuristic thinking, there's past thinking. There's all kinds of ways of thinking. But have you taken the time to process those? Do you know how to use them for your own discipline? Do you know how to talk to your soul? Because there's soul thinking, yeah? Then there's mentality, that's mental thinking. There's emotional thinking, very radical, very sporadic and crazy. Okay, so a woman is going to have as a vessel a certain type of quality. A man, as the giver, is going to have a certain level of quality and qualifications. And so together they work in unison. And in your body, you have these different energies, negatives and positives, and female and male. Too much femininity will become acidic. It becomes so alkaline that it destroys things, like a battery alkaline battery that explodes. That's it has become acidic. Too much femininity in the world, um, without boundaries, is a bad thing. Too much acid, which is what man is in masculine energy, is caustic. Man is, acid is caustic within itself because it's a force, it's a reactor. It goes out and reacts. That's the giving side, right? Too much of that, it just burns and destroys everything. Neither one of them are good. We need each other in a really good balance. And the way you do that is you really do have to eat right. You have to think right. You have to live right. And nobody can tell you what that is but you. And then you have to fall in love right. How do you fall in love right? You got to fall in love with who you are. It's not about, oh my God, I'm just too sexy for myself. No, I'm not talking about that. You should have the confidence to know that you can deliver when it comes to giving love to somebody else and giving them so much pleasure that they, in turn, want to return it back to you. This is how you serve the world. You come up with an idea that serves people more than it serves you, you got real love. You protect the innocent, whether you're a male or a female, not just your innocence, but everybody. And the simple rule is just because wrong was done to you does not give you the right to do wrong to somebody else. Simple rule. Do not do harm to yourself or others. Do not steal dignity from yourself. Don't allow anyone to take your dignity away. Okay? And leave more love when you leave than what you found it. Whatever the situation is, when you find the situation, you leave more love than the moment that you arrived. When you leave more love behind. That's it. Those three simple rules will change the world into the rightful place. Facts. Facts, okay? So I'm done. Now it's up to you to do it. You don't need a guru, but if you need an accountability partner, if you need somebody to help you, you know what to do. Pop it, baby. Pop it.